Hi, my name is Joshua Schubart, and you're listening to
the FSF Podcast, your home for the all-nerdy, no-dirty interviews with people in our sci-fi and pop culture world.
Well, today we're talking with an actor, and we're going to talk with our guest today about work on a show that he's done on a network called the IFT Network, a show called After. And he's also been known as Frank on a little show called The Tick. Maybe you heard of it.
Maybe.
Maybe.
And long enough, you've seen a super cool hashtag called Schubart's Clobbering Time, because we think that Frank, also known as Joshua Schubart, should be the next Ben Grimm, aka The Thing, in any upcoming Fantastic Four offering from Marvel. So find us, ladies and gentlemen, on Twitter at PCA Pod Show. Find hashtag Schubart's Clobbering Time, and you can get to meet Joshua Schubart. Ladies and gentlemen, Joshua Schubart.
Hi, how you doing? Thanks for having me on. And I would love to play that role, obviously. It'd be fantastic. Fantastic.
We're going to keep that hashtag going until somebody pays attention to it.
Blast it into everyone's mouth.
Really,
Yeah. Hey, you know what? I figure if we put it out into the universe, it has a possibility. If you don't, if you don't ask, you don't get.
That's absolutely
right?
True. Absolutely, 100%.
Yeah. So we'll keep pushing it out there. Hopefully, Kevin Feige sees that and goes, "Oh, Frank from The Tick, he'd be perfect." Yeah.
He's a very large dude and very emotive. Perfect. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, you'd be awesome at it.
Thank you.
So, Josh, this is the third time that I've had a chance to sit down and talk with you now, because you joined me on my other show called Focused on Forward. We talked about your background and things that happened to you as a younger version of Joshua as you were growing up and how you overcame those things. You then followed that up with a visit to another show that I do, and Kathleen and I do together, called the Funny Science Fiction Podcast, where we primarily talked about your work on The Tick, and we talked about your love for comic books and Marvel's MCU.
Yeah.
But I have to ask you one more question about The Tick, because it is such a huge pop culture influence on many things in the comic book world. Being that The Tick is so very popular, it started off as an animated show. It's now in its second round of live action shows. What does it mean to you to be so involved with a piece of pop culture like The Tick?
Oh, it means the world to me. And it's a huge honor to be part of this community of people that love this IP. It was a huge influence on me. Like, the animated series made me feel like I was not alone and that I had like a place in this world. And I've heard from many of our fans that this current version of the show makes them feel that way also. So that's really special. And like, I just recently, this is actually pretty cool. A mom from Spain reached out to me on Twitter, telling me that her young son, I think he's like 9 or 10 years old, loves the show and specifically loves me. And would I mail him some like photographs? And I was like, yeah, absolutely. So I mailed him 2 with like personal messages in it, and he's so happy. And it's like one of the coolest, it's the coolest feeling when like you can just like make a person's day be because of the work that you've done. And just like a quick personalized message like means so much. So it was like a really cool thing, and things keep happening like that all the time. And as long as people love the Tick and love the show and want to interact with me, they absolutely can, because it's important.
That's cool. Yeah, I can kind of see where that little guy's coming from, because I've got a couple of autographs from people that I was like really excited to get. And when they showed up in the mail, it was like, oh my God, it's really here in The Thing. Oh my God. They're also right there behind me.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, how cool is that you get an opportunity to impact somebody's life like that, where you can kind of compare it even to you growing up. The tick had such a big impact on you. Now here it is affecting another generation, and you're having an impact in that generation.
Well, because at the end of the day, I'm also a fan, right? So how do I want to be treated as a fan by the people that I'm a fan of? So as positive and as kind as I can possibly be, like that's what I would want. So why wouldn't I also do that for them? Like not all actors in the industry or like people playing these types of pop culture phenomenon, TV shows or movies or whatever are like mean. But if you are mean, then I don't know what the hell you're doing here. Like, why did you take the role? Why are you a part of this universe? Like, it comes along with a responsibility to the fans. Like, I know that's a weird thing to like say or to like even hear, but because people have lived with these characters and these things for so long, probably their whole lives, like you have a responsibility to the fandom to like be a part of the whole thing, and that's how I feel. So
I definitely agree with that, especially when it is one of those bigger things that you've brought somebody part of their childhood to life.
Right.
Why would you then push away the people that are trying to tell you that they appreciate what you've done?
I mean, there are a lot of actors that are not as extroverted as I am. They're like really inward and things of that nature. So I can understand that they get really overwhelmed or there's a lot of people. But work that out with you and understand that like you could potentially be making like hundreds of thousands a year just off of like conventions where people want to come to meet you and they want to talk to you. And that's because you're such a big part of their lives. And if you're a dick, no one's going to come and see you. And like, that's like a part of the, like, if you want to, like, it's part of the business side, but at the same time, like, don't you want to talk to people that are into what you're into too? Like, it's a whole, like, come on.
Right. Sure. There's a give and take with that you're giving your acting ability to the world. You're sharing your talent with the world. Allow them to share their appreciation with you.
Sure. Yeah.
It's got to be a two-way street. And
that's a big thing for like why I'm an actor and like why I'm an artist, is that there's a lot of actors that are like, what I'm making is for me, whereas for what I believe is that what I'm making is for you and for everyone else. And it's like a healing thing for the whole world. Like if the whole world gets to like watch what I'm up to and it helps them or it makes them feel happy, then that's why I'm here, right? Like, not for me, it's for everybody else.
I'd also like to point out that I applaud you for following Uncle Ben's advice. With great power comes great responsibility.
Uncle Ben, he was very wise while he was passing away. Yeah.
Josh, the last time we sat down and talked, we talked about the new addition to your family. You said she's 6 weeks old now.
Yeah.
That is incredible. And with new additions come new challenges. And newborns are especially challenging.
Yes.
How are you adjusting? How are you doing?
The first couple of weeks were a nightmare hellscape. I don't know. No one ever tells you that part of it, right? And
they don't.
And it's not a bad thing, right? Like everybody's like, oh, it's like the most beautiful time. And it's like, yes, it is. And I love her so much, but I also wanted to like die every day.
100%.
Like,
that's accurate.
Yeah, like me and my wife would like cry and then laugh and then cry again and just try and work out how to like handle this new thing happening to us. Honestly, like we're such a great team that if we didn't have each other, like I don't know how people do this by themselves. Like it's a wildly beautiful, hard, terrible, amazing time. Like that's the only way that I can really talk about it. Like I love her so much, and I knew that I was going to love her, but I didn't know how freaking much I was coming over.
Yeah.
I almost used the F curse.
We heard it. It was almost there.
But
he's a good boy.
but it's also extremely difficult, and I think people need to know that too. That
it is when you realize why they use sleep deprivation as torture.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember when my firstborn was born, and I remember standing there looking at him in a little incubator right after he was, the little warming bed or whatever they call it, while they're getting ready to clean him up. I mean, he was like, fresh bake out of the oven. He was right there, and they're getting ready. And I remember just standing on the edge of that and looking down at him, and I had two distinct thoughts. Number one, I didn't realize that I could love somebody that much. It meant a tremendous amount to me. And then number two, I also realized that I had such a profound job ahead of me.
Oh, yeah.
Like those two things came crashing in all at once. And honestly, it became more with every child. Then my third one was a daughter. And then with my daughter, as I was standing over her as she was getting cleaned up and looking down at her and smiling, it was oh my God, I love her. She's so beautiful. I will literally break the legs of anybody who comes near her.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. We have one, and she'll be 3 next month. And that was the same thing with my husband. Like he never thought he wanted kids. He never thought he wanted to be a dad. And then when we found out that I was pregnant, and it was okay, so this is a thing that's happening. This is like, we knew that it was a possibility, but it also took us 3 years to get her. It took us 3 years of trying before I got pregnant.
Yeah, it took us 5.5 years.
Oh, wow.
Which is the thing that like no one ever talks about either, is that it potentially just won't happen right away. Like we had to turn to science. I don't know if that's what you also had to do, and that whole process is its own, like, and not really for the guy. Like for like me, it's like emotional, but for the women, it's everything, like the hormonal changes and all the injections and all the pills and all the tests and getting internal sonograms all the time. Like it's really hard. And
it's a lot.
Yeah. So
and we didn't have to go through IVF. I was just on medication, but it was still, even on the medication, it's a diabetes drug, and it causes extreme stomach issues when you first start it.
Yeah.
And that's brutal. But then it was the 2.5 years on that medication, and I'm late, and I'm like, oh, well, it's happened before. I've been late before. And my husband's like, yeah, no, but you're not mad at me. You're not PMSing. What is this? And I'm like, no, there is no way I'm pregnant. We've been told it can't happen. It's not going to happen. I took the pregnancy test. That second line showed up on the test, and it was
ta-da.
So this is a thing we're doing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you get that little baby in your arms, and you realize that you just met this person and you love them so much. It's ridiculous.
It's crazy. It really is.
I both missed the newborn stage and hated the newborn stage. But
my eyes never burned like they did when each child was in newborn stage. I felt like my retinas were permanently on fire because it's just the lack of sleep. And my wife did a good job, because I at the time, or at least for our first two, I was the one working full time at a company outside, and she was not at the time. And so she was trying very hard to make sure that I could get as much sleep as I could, so I could get up and go to work the next morning. But even at that, when you're trying to be a good husband and a good partner to your wife and a good parent, you feel bad that she's always the one getting up. She was always the one. There were certain things that she had to get up for that I was just not genetically equipped for.
Sure.
You just didn't try hard enough.
No, that wasn't the thing.
You have to will the milk out of your.
Yes.
Well, you gotta be like, go nipples, go,
go gadget nipples.
Yeah.
You and your useless nipples. I've had that conversation with John multiple
they're
times.
just for decoration. So That's a whole weird topic we just stumbled into.
Oh, you know what? It's fine. It's our show. We can talk about what we
Talk about
want.
whatever you want. I don't care, and I'm not shy. We can talk about whatever.
Well, that's good because that leads right into my next question, because this was something that I found in doing research / stalking you for this go around.
Nice.
It was something I hadn't found in either of our previous conversations. So I stumbled onto, unless it was a different or another profile of a different Joshua Schubart, but I'm pretty sure it's not. Now, according to audible.com.
Oh my God, yeah.
On top of being an incredible actor, I love it. I don't even have to get finished with the question. On top of being an incredible actor on screen, you're a weapons and a stunt guy. Apparently, you're also a voice guy for some. You did some narration of some like really steamy love novels. At least I'm going to assume they're steamy. I didn't download any of them or listen to them, but based on the cover art, yeah, it was about to get on.
Yeah, I'm an audiobook narrator for romance novels also. It's another aspect of my performance life that is rarely new. It was a pandemic special, if you will, because there was no work, like we couldn't do anything, and I was going out of my mind. And about like a month and a half into the pandemic, I was like, Courtney, that's my wife's name. I was like, Courtney, I'm turning one of our closets into an audio booth, and I'm going to make money out of an audio booth in our closet. And then she was like, no. And I was like, it's happening. And I just like ordered everything. And now I have an audio booth. It's like right here. You just can't see it. So so I just kept doing it. It was really, I was scared of it at first because, it was a whole book, right? It's like you're the narrator and you're playing all the characters, and like, how am I going to play multiple women? How am I going to make them all their like own unique person? And then I just started doing them and having fun with them and not like worrying about it. And it turns out that they're a whole lot of fun too. And because of my voice, my niche is romance, because I've got my voice is apparently sexy or whatever. So I do all the sexy books. I would love to do like crazy science fiction or like long form fantasy, but right now that's what I'm doing. Like I'm exclusively working with this publisher, this romance publisher called Butter Dragons, and they're based out of the Netherlands. And they keep emailing me. What are you doing? What are you looking at?
Are you downloading the books to listen to later, Tim?
You know what? There is the temptation. I'm not even going to lie. There's the temptation to download just because I want to hear Josh being, with all the sexy talk.
Listen, I'm a really good book narrator. Like, let me see which ones are up right now. To the internet.
Let's see. There's Shadow of the Wolf.
Don't listen to any of the wolf ones.
Sexy Drug.
Sexy Drug is one of my newest ones.
Spark of Passion, Firefighters Military Romance.
I would listen to
Flame of Desire.
Yeah, so I would say
Blaze of Ecstasy. I'm sorry, these are killing
Sexy
me.
Drug first.
Sexy Drug, okay.
Yeah, because the werewolf ones were the beginning of my audiobook career, and I'm just not proud of them. They're really bad. But I've got like new ones coming out, like six new ones coming in.
Oh, nice. Okay.
In the next couple of months. But yeah, like, so that one's like about a drug cartel, and I'm playing like an undercover DEA agent that's like in the cartel, and then I fall in love with the head of the cartel's oldest daughter, and I actually narrate with a lovely person named MJ Webb, who's actually from Michigan.
Okay.
And I co-narrate with her now for all of these audiobooks for this publishing company. So yeah, I do that too, Tim. Sexy mouth.
I loved it. I was looking at that and I was like, no, that can't be the same. I'm like, is there another Joshua Schubart? And I'm like, No, I think that's him. I'm like, and so I'm like doing my research, and I'm like typing up notes, and I'm like, I'm so talking to him about days of ecstasy.
Yeah, I was doing the same thing when I saw Tim's question about the audiobooks, and I'm like, wait, he did what?
Yeah,
No, that's cool. That's actually cool though, man, because it's kind of cool that you've got these different areas for you to express your artisticness through. And I think that it's nice that you're not limited to one lane. You have different options for you to be able to do what you want to do.
And making sure that you keep a steady paycheck for your family. Like, that's a big part of it. You said it was a pandemic project. You got to keep working somehow.
Well, it's cool now because now I have this whole other arm of income also. So like now that everything's opening up again, I'll have everything that I used to have plus this. So it's great.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? One of the things I've heard most in this business is that it's important to diversify and have multiple income streams.
Yes.
So, especially when you have a kid in diapers. You need more income.
It's true.
Yeah, because you're going to spend a lot on diapers. So yeah.
Oh, I know.
They get expensive, stupid fast.
Yeah, and we use the ones that are made of bamboo, so they're like extra monies.
Ooh.
Yeah. Amazon's your friend. So
yeah,
have them just drop them off because they're going to be making regular stops.
So we have talked previously about your love of the MCU. Because who doesn't love the MCU? And currently in our household, we are watching the Avengers Phase 1 movies in release order and just got to the first Avengers movie. We just started it last night. Like watching them with my 3-year-old because she loves superheroes. So how are you going to introduce the MCU to your daughter? Where's your starting point for her?
So I'll probably do it in timeline order, including the shows. Just just as nerdy as I possibly can. But like we in this household do like Captain America, like a lot, like Captain America, Iron Man. Like I have a special place in my heart for Iron Man also because I used to watch that animated show too. Did you remember that show?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And also like it was the first one that actually was not crap. So that was really cool too. You know, like we had to like live through. I mean, other than the Hulk with Ed Norton, which was actually pretty good. I believe it's actually part of the canon, isn't it? Like, didn't they like, like the Fantastic Fours as a whole, pretty bad. Like, like I'm really excited and also want to play Ben Grimm. In the new one,
Schubart's clobbering time.
Schubart's clobbering time. Hashtag Schubart's clobbering time. But I'm very hopeful because they've done great with everything. So
yeah.
And then the old Captain America movie where it was like a dude in like underpants, it's fantastic, but not because it's good, because it's hilarious.
Right. Yeah. So my follow-up question to that, because this is a thing that we are working on in our house too. How are you going to teach her that she's not a princess in need of rescuing, but that she also is a superhero? That she can do it herself? How are you going to help her with her girl power? Well,
I'm just going to tell her that she can do whatever she wants to do. Like I'm a gigantic feminist and I always have been. Like I get told by my wife pretty much like weekly that I'm a bigger feminist than her. I just, she can do whatever she wants to do whenever she wants to do it. And if she ever asks me, like, can I do this or am I allowed to? And we're like, you can do it. Do whatever you want. Like, don't not try something because you're quote unquote not supposed to.
Right.
Don't apologize for wanting to be part of the world. Just go be part of the world. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess does that answer your question?
It does. It totally does.
Yeah,
and like
the
big thing that we've been working on lately is like I watched the Captain Marvel movie for the first time like 6 months ago because I had gotten distracted with other things, and I watched it, and she watched it with me, and she's like, "Oh, it's a girl superhero." I'm like, "Yeah, it is."
That matters.
And so then she got really into WandaVision, and when we were watching Avengers last night, she's like, "Oh, who's that?" I'm like, "That's Black Widow. I like her. I want to be like that." I'm like, "Do it.
Do backflips. Do it."
Yes.
Yeah.
You've already been broken twice in your tiny life. It's okay. We'll just
we did the same thing with my daughter. She's 14 now, but when Captain Marvel came out and all these different things, because I needed her to see that she could have role models growing up, just like I had role models growing up, and that she could do anything that she wanted to do, and that the only limits that should be placed upon her are the ones that she wants placed upon her.
Right.
And so, helping her to understand that I want her to have every opportunity I had growing up as a boy, and I want her to have every opportunity that her brothers had. She shouldn't be limited because of gender.
Right.
That shouldn't even come into the equation.
Like growing up with superheroes and comic books, and I had the X-Men to look up to. Like you had Storm. Storm was pretty cool. And then Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy and Catwoman. And it's like, but now having Captain Marvel be in the forefront and Black Widow be in the forefront, it's like it's nice to see them finally getting the spotlight they should have had this whole time.
Yeah,
and then the Wonder Woman movies. It's like, I want to see that girl power, and it's great. Until, of course, she tries doing backflips, and I have to explain to emergency rooms that, no, I'm not beating my child. She does this to herself.
Yeah. It'll be
we were practicing cosplay. That's all you gotta say.
Kids feel fast.
She has broken 2 bones already. She broke her arm at 14 months, and her leg. Oh, she was over 2, because that was just January.
That's a lot of bones.
It is for an almost 3-year-old.
Yeah, wow, it's crazy.
The first one, though, the arm, was because she got so excited that we were having dinosaur chicken nuggets for dinner that she tripped in the living room and caught herself and broke her arm.
I would also be really excited for that as well, so I understand.
And now I want chicken nuggets.
Shapes, delicious.
I know, and unfortunately with that one, then because the chicken nuggets were coming out of the oven when she got excited and fell and broke herself, we then had to go to the emergency room before we got to eat chicken nuggets.
Also, she didn't even get the chicken nuggets.
She did after we got back, but then it was now they're reheated chicken nuggets, and that's just not as good.
They lose some of their punch.
Yeah,
for sure. All right, so let's shift topics here just a little bit.
Okay.
Or a lot of it, because we were talking about kids and broken bones, and we're going to go somewhere else. So
it's our show. We talk about what we want.
Let's go.
We're going anywhere we want. So one of the things I love most in life, other than my family and sci-fi and all things nerdery, is music. I've often said that I have a soundtrack playing in my head at nearly all times. I wake up a lot of mornings and I have a song stuck in my head. Sometimes it's a song I haven't heard in ages, and for whatever reason, the other morning, I hate Elvis Presley with a bleeding passion. I think the man's a hack. He sucks. That's right. I said it. Deal with it. Anyway.
And there goes our subscriber.
And with the one subscriber we may have, he's gone. All right. But if you had to pick an album or an artist to get you motivated, to get you moving, to get you ready for your job, your day, even if it's just going out and mowing the yard, who is it, what is it, and why?
Okay, so there's I've got multiple answers because I like multiple. What I'm up to, or what I'm doing, or even what period of my life I was in. Do you want recently, or do you want
Sure.
All right, so I've been listening to a lot of Nordic heavy metal recently. I've gotten really into it, and a lot of nerd metal. So there's this great Italian metal band called Windrose, and they are a band that they cosplay as mountain dwarves, and that's what they sing about. So it's and
that's
it's
awesome.
Some of the nerdiest, coolest metal you've ever heard. And then Brothers of Metal they do a lot of Viking based music, which I love, but I also like a JR, Bad Religion.
Oh,
Um,
nice.
like I'm heavily into punk, and I'm actually heavily into ska. Like, if there was one band that has been with me through most of my life, it's the Aquabats. Do you know who
I do.
um and probably their album, the Aquabats versus the Floating Eye Ball of Death.
Mhm.
I've heard that album probably the most. That and Stranger Than Fiction by Bad Religion are like kind
Yeah,
of,
that's an amazing album.
yeah.
See, you said windrows, and now all of a sudden in my head, it's just the down in my hole, my diggy hole.
That's
It's gonna be stuck in my head for days now.
Yeah, I love that song.
My husband loves torturing me with that song. He will just
I'm
start
gonna
singing
have to go
diggy
find
diggy
these.
hole to get it stuck in my head.
Oh, it's a
I
great
wrote
song.
down Windrose. I'm gonna go check them out
And
one
it's
more
a
time.
my
great
gosh,
music
no.
video too.
Diggy diggy hole will be stuck in your head for the rest of your life.
It will. And also check out Amaranthine. They are a great metal band with a badass lady singer, and I love those metal bands too, like a Amaranthine, Nightwish, like just
Oh,
really,
yeah. I love Nightwish.
yeah, they're so much fun, because like, especially when they have an album that's like totally themed, it's like a cool one, yeah. So I'm all over the place with what I like when it comes to music.
I love that.
Yeah,
I love eclectic music tastes.
and I also love like Childish Gambino, and
Fair enough.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm all over the place when it comes to music as well. I mean, I have my favorites. I am a hardcore Pearl Jam fan. Have been from the moment they came out, because their music came out when I was in high school, and that they're, especially 10 and the Versus album for me were kind of like soundtracks to my youth. And same with Stone Temple Pilots, their first two albums, in particular the Purple album. Absolutely love that. And that actually has my favorite song of all time on it. By the way, just in case you're wondering, it's "Interstate Love Song" by Stone Temple Pilots. Nobody asked, but I told you anyway.
Well, thank you.
And yeah, you're welcome.
But that is the fun thing about music, is that you're not tied to a single genre. Just because you like this band doesn't mean you have to only listen to that genre.
Well, some people are, right?
Which is sad.
Because it becomes their like identity.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's cool.
No, I feel bad for people that only listen to one genre. You're missing out on so many other things. Like, I love being able to go from Otis Redding to Megadeth, and to go from Garth Brooks to No Doubt, or whatever, because I want to. I'll go from I have literally gone from Ella Fitzgerald to Public Enemy. Yeah. So, I mean, there's, you do whatever you want to do.
See, and it's fun for me is like, I grew up, my parents were 37 and 47 when I was born. And so my dad had an older taste in music. And so my dad would listen to Simon and Garfunkel and Kenny Loggins and all of these like older classic things. But then my mom loved the Carpenters and that kind of classic rock. Yeah. And then my grandmother was an opera singer. So we'd go over to my grandma's house and she would be belting out to Pavarotti while sewing. And then we'd be listening to musicals and everything. Like, my favorite band is Bowling for Soup.
Bowling for Soup is cool.
I love Bowling for Soup so much. Like, I have always loved them. But I would go from Bowling for Soup to 3 Days Grace to anything, because it's all over. It's everywhere.
I also love opera, and that's only because I am in tons of them, but like I never really I never appreciated how incredible opera singing was until I was in rehearsal rooms with these people. So it's beautiful. It's fantastic.
See, I can't get behind opera. I've tried. I have a hard time with it. But I do like operatically trained singers who go on and do other things. Like, I and I can't remember his name right now, but the singer
Freddie
from
Mercury.
Freddie Mercury, of course. But I was originally thinking of the singer from Dream Theater.
Okay.
Oh
I
yeah.
can't remember his name for the life of me right now, but he's
Bobby
got
Ricardo.
yeah, he's got a
I
majestic.
just made it up. I don't know.
Let's go with Bobby Ricardo. I think it's James something. Now I gotta look it up.
Second.
But you know, Dream Theater. Who is it?
James LeBrie?
Yeah, James LeBrie. Yeah, that's it. I mean, that guy has range for absolute days.
Oh yeah.
And what he's able to do with his voice, but it fits so well with their brand of metal, and it's just, to me, it's just awesome. So
there's one of the other things about we talked about the Renaissance Festival performers. So there's a mermaid troupe that comes to the Ren Fair near us.
Oh.
And they're actually based out of Florida, but the owner of the
mermaid people.
No,
because
not
that's
yet.
what mermaids do.
It is, especially when the one's name is Siren.
Mm-hmm.
But the owner, Linda, who her stage name is Siren, she is a classically trained opera singer, and so she'll sing siren songs from the mermaid pool, and it's like,
oh wow,
it is terrifying.
That's so cool, though. That's such a cool thing. Cool. Yeah, it is
so cool. I want to get her on the show too if I can. Like, I would love to get to talk to her about that transition from opera to being a mermaid at a Renaissance festival. Like, that's just so cool.
That is really cool.
So we have talked a lot about all of the different aspects of your work. We're missing one part of your resume, your time as a model. I found that one today and was slightly amused. I was giggling a little bit about it. I think I was giggling mostly because the article I found classified you as a plus size male model.
I am, though.
You are.
Yeah.
I also kind of hate that term because you're just person sized. Like,
yeah, I'm very big. Like we've never met in person, but I'm a big human being. Like, I'm very muscular and tall. But I'm also, no clothing fits me properly, and it hasn't since I was, 14. So
just big boned.
Yeah, big human man. But so I'm a brawn model, and that's happening to this day. Yeah, I do a lot of stuff, but I'm actually, that was largely by accident, because the first time that happened was for GQ, and I know that's a huge deal for it to be my first time.
Mm-hmm.
But they were trying to show large dudes how to wear the right size suits, and
Mm-hmm.
they cast me in it, and it was a lot of fun, and it turned into this thing where I never thought I would be in the modeling world. I mean, I'm not an ugly man, but I'm not a model guy, right? So but what's really cool is that I began to wear clothes that never existed before for people that look like me. And when I was modeling for a company called Untuck It, which I do work for now, I'm on their walls and their brick and mortar stores now. Mm-hmm. For a while back when people were doing anything in the world because there wasn't COVID, larger dudes would come in with my picture in a magazine, and they'd point at it and they would tell them I want to wear what this guy's wearing. He looks like me. And I never had that before, right? I could never go I want to wear what that guy's wearing because he looks like me, and it fits and it looks good.
Right.
So that was really special, and it took the whole oh, I'm a model now thing out of it to this is also important. This is also part of why I'm here, is to be this part of the representation for this part of the world, which is cool. Yeah. So yeah, I'm a model too.
That's awesome. See, and you say that you're a big dude, and I'm looking at pictures of you, and obviously when you're on a 24-inch computer screen, you can't tell, but that's normal to me. I grew up around, my brothers are 6'3" and 6'2". Yeah. My dad was 6'1". My husband's 6 foot. It's you're just human sized.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, all I can hear right now in my head is Right Said Fred. I'm a model, you know what I mean. I do my little turn on the catwalk. Anyway, sorry, bud. Just
No, but that's so cool. Like, I love that you're getting to do that, and you're getting to continue to break those. They're barriers, they're boundaries,
they are
boxes that exist
barriers.
for.
Yeah, and it's what I try to do with my like acting work and for anything that I make on my like own and like anything that I write is large man having emotions or like being a human, you know,
Right.
in entertainment, larger men are usually just like oafish or a-holes.
the joke.
Yeah, or we're just a joke, or we're extremely violent. We're extremely violent, and there's no in between.
You're not the heartthrob. You're not the love interest. Which is stupid.
You're just the friend. You're
best
the
friend.
yeah. So,
Which I do.
actually, that leads really well into another question I had for you, and it's about your show After. Now, we didn't get to talk about this much on Funny Sci-Fi because After is not a sci-fi show. So we talked to you about the Tick and Marvel and MCU stuff and, you know, nerdery and comic books and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But let's talk about this just for a moment, because just in case our audience isn't familiar with After, it's on the IFT network. And let's talk about that. Explain to people what IFT, or not what IFT is, but what After is, what it's about. And how do you fuel your drive for creativity with the creation of shows and stories like After?
Sure. So After is a TV show about a guy who loses his wife and then has to move back home. And with the help of his family and friends, tries to get back into the dating game. So it's a comedy, and it's extremely funny, and it's also incredibly sad. It's not autobiographical. I have a very alive wife, but the idea for it actually came to me when I was getting married. Like that day, I had just said I do, and I was walking away from the altar, and I just thought, like, what the hell would I do if you died? Like, not in like a bad way, but like, you can talk a lot of crap about like, I'm gonna get married, or like this person's gonna be in my life for the rest of my life. But when you make that commitment to another person and you actually do it, something really clicks over in your brain, and then you just can't imagine them not being there anymore.
Right.
And this thought kind of like, I don't know, it was like in my head like for a couple of years, and I would like write bits of pages down, or like write bits of scenes down. And then another big part of why I wanted to make the show was mental health has been a huge part of my life and a huge part of my journey. And I wanted to show a person like me, that looks like me, that's a big masculine man, working through mental illness in a way that's positive, and you come out the other side not perfect, but better at the end. A changed, more complete human being. So it was about like showing other men that it's okay to not be okay, and that you can cry and you can be upset and you can go through it and you can fail and things are terrible, but also life is also beautiful and strange and magical and expressive and vibrant. And you know, that's why I made this show. And this type of role didn't exist for me at the time, so I made it for me. And then everyone else in the show, I wrote all their roles for them, and they got to play these incredible roles too. And that was an amazing thing too. So I don't always write from like a crazy personal place, Tim, which is where I think like this is kind of headed. But I like to take aspects of my life or what I've been through or experiences or ideas that I feel need to be shown, or, you know, people need to understand more. Like I've got a feature film that's in development right now called We Got What You Need, and it's about a guy. It's about an indie comic book creator who works overnights at a gas station, and he's a crazy dude because he's so sleep deprived, and he actually hallucinates in comic book and animation, and there's a homeless character in it, because I was homeless and I was never treated the way that homeless people should be treated, and I wrote this character in as like a voice of reason angel, like presence to humanize homelessness and homeless people, without being heavy-handed, and it all works in, and it's just part of the story, and it's a lot of fun. So like, I like to write about that type of stuff, and I used to work overnights at a Hess when I was in school, so I could pay for my car insurance and things. So I understand what that's like too. But yeah, so but then there's a lot of things in there that are not part of my life personally, that I've pulled from, just observations and things of that nature.
Oh, that's really cool. And I frankly can't wait to see that. The whole fact, who's hallucinating isn't cool if you're, sleep deprived and all, but the fact that he's doing an animation, all of a sudden I'm going, okay, I want to see this actually, it sounds really cool.
Thanks. Yeah. So like, parts of the world will become animated when he's looking at them, when he's really going through it. So it's really, I think it's great, and I can't wait to actually like see it when it's all done, because I have this, like, we're not even there yet, but like when it's being made, like, I can't wait to hire a bunch of animators. Yeah, I can't wait.
I think it's a really cool concept. Yeah, I would be stoked to watch that. So.
Well, Josh, we have enjoyed having you on the show so much today, and I think that we can only steal a couple more minutes away from your wife and daughter.
Sure.
So where can our viewers and our listeners find more about your work and what you have coming out next?
Sure. So I'm at Josh_Schubart on both Twitter and Instagram. That's where I do most of my speaking about stuff, mostly on Twitter. Instagram's like me taking pictures of stuff. So if you like that, then you can go there. If you want to talk to me, I'm pretty responsive on Twitter, and I have a website that's joshuaschubart.com, and that's all the places.
We will have those out in our description so that our viewers and our listeners can find you and support your work.
Cool. Thank you.
And too, if you like what you've heard with Josh here today, if you want to hear more about Joshua, go out and check him out on Focused on Forward. You can hear more about his backstory leading up to all these things, and how he overcame a lot of what he talked about, being homeless and some mental health issues and things that he's had to work through in his life. And then also, if you want to find out more about his work on the Tick, certain comic book adventures and things that he's had, and his love for comics and the MCU, go check him out on Funny Science Fiction. You guys are going to love him there too. So, and we also want to remind you that subscribing is the single most important thing that you can do to help us out, to help us continue to get awesome guests like Joshua Schubart to have these great conversations with. Josh is a great guy. He's been very patient with us and very kind to us to come back and let us poke him with a stick one more time. But
aren't you glad it's a virtual stick?
It's a virtual stick, so it's not as bad. But remember, kids, pop culture is all around you. It influences every part of your lives. And so be sure to come back next week. We'll have your fix waiting right here for you.
And don't forget, #Schubart's Clobbering Time.
Schubart's Clobbering Time!
We're gonna make
Clobbering Time!
All right, thanks everyone for watching. Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Thanks. Bye.
Copyright 2023 FSF Podcast.
Reference to any specific product or entity mentioned on this podcast does not constitute an endorsement or recommendation by FSF Podcast. The views expressed by the guests are their own, and their appearance on the program does not imply an endorsement of them or any entity they represent. If you have any questions about this disclaimer, please contact us via email at info@fsfpodcast.com. Original music by Jordan Michaels.